Hello, MFers. Welcome back to another episode of Mostly Football. I believe this is episode 30-something. We're talking NFL free agency. It's been a while since Nate and I have talked to you guys. We got to talk about Kirk Cousins. We got to talk about Saquon Barkley. I know it's stale for you guys, but we have not given you our opinions on it yet. I'm going to try not to be too distracted. Right now, the only ever Eagles Super Bowl victory is on the NFL channel. Slick, big, you-know-what, Nick Foles taking down Tom Brady here. But we're talking March Madness, NCAA Final Fours, men's and women's. Oh, by the way, there's a new NFL kickoff rule. You can't tackle anymore in the NFL. And I'm going to ask Nate, is Kirk Cousins the best ever Falcons quarterback? All here on Mostly Football. I think it's the only time we've ever played the entire song there, Nate. Welcome in, Mostly Footballers. We are going to have a good time tonight. The kids are asleep. I have a bottle of wine. It's been a while since we've talked to you, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Nate?
Yeah.
Would you mind just what's on your mind?
Man, there's a lot, Things, it's been a wild offseason. Probably one of the best off seasons we've had probably in a long time.
What's going on? I don't just mean as far as sports. What's going on in your life? Catch me up. What's the latest and greatest? What do you want to talk about?
So the little one. Remember I told you the little one's sick. So she caught the hand, foot, mouth disease.
Don't get me started on that.
Yeah. So she broke. So last week she broke out in a rash at school. So we were thinking it was just like maybe something she ate or something, maybe something we changed, something. But come to find out, she had the hand, foot, mouth disease. So she's been out of it for a while. I mean, it's mostly been she's been real itchy, but I think it's finally passing, so it's not as bad. So other than that, I mean, things have been good.
So that's starting to go away.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it was like a couple of days ago, but it's still there.
Please don't mind me. I'm sharing this wherever possible. Also, we got TJ Burns in the house, and we want to wish a very special. It's a few days late now, but happy birthday to our very own TJ Burns, host of the Unpadded podcast. You can find on Facebook here, all about wrestling with his co-host. Forgive me, I do not know his name. I'd have to watch another episode to find out. But TJ, former host and co-host of the Just Be a Dad podcast with Nate and myself, and current host of the Unpadded podcast. So happy birthday to you, TJ. I believe you're 44 now? You don't look a day over 82.
Jeez, all around.
Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. He's at 44. He just looks 52. That's all. Happy birthday to TJ. Hope you had a great one. Hope you had a lot of whiskey. You can catch TJ on Whiskey Pro Streaming. I think there's a number there, right? 86?
I don't remember. I think it's just Whiskey Pro.
TJ, help us out with that. Whiskey Pro Streaming on Twitch, as well as the Unpadded podcast on Facebook. I'm going to get a few more shares here. That one's what I wanted. And, okay, so I got sports. I got no rules. Guys, if you're a part of these groups on Facebook, please, help us out. Oh, there's one. And that's probably what I'm going to do for now. Help us out, give the show a follow, give us a like. We're having a lot of fun here. If you like sports, if you like NFL particularly, as the show is called Mostly Football, which is what we know about. But the reason I called it that and the reason why Nate agreed to that name is because we like to talk about other things too. And we don't want to be pigeonholed into just talking about football.
Right.
He just said, yes, sir, here. So speaking of which, Nate, you know damn well that I live here in Augusta, Georgia, and we are getting very close to Masters time.
Mm-hmm.
I told you before the show started, I've been wondering if Tiger Woods was going to be a part of the Masters this year. And wouldn't you know it, We have a headline here from ESPN. 5-time Masters champ Tiger Woods touches down in Augusta. TJ wants to know when we're talking about midgets. That's going to be toward the end of the show. First 5-7 minutes in, TJ, YouTube is all over us. So we got to be careful with what we do here. So about 8 minutes in, and you know this damn well, TJ. You're a streamer yourself. So give us about 8-9 minutes, and we'll be talking midgets. Nate is a huge golf fan. Which Nate, is that true?
No. I don't like golf. It's not. There's not enough excitement for me. Plus, I don't understand the scoring system, so not a huge fan of it. Not a huge fan of it.
You don't understand the scoring? Come on now. That's just
no. I just know I just know being negative is good, and positive is bad. So that's about the extent of my knowledge of golf.
Yeah, you get a certain amount of strokes, the swings per hole. Those are strokes, and then that's your par. And then if you equal that amount of swings to get the ball in the hole on that particular hole, that's par. I think if you get it 1 under, that's birdie. 2 under is eagle.
Obviously, 1 is a hole. I know those. I know the basic stuff, but other than that, I don't really keep up. Tiger Woods is probably the most. I know him, and there's another guy, an older guy. I think his name was Roy something.
He loves to put balls in holes. Guys, it's Saturday night. Like I said, I got a bottle of wine. TJ's here. He's obviously having a good time too. I'm glad. I'm so happy about this. This is basically a Just Be a Dad reunion podcast that's going to be turned into a sports podcast too. So thank you for joining us, TJ. And by the way, what's the latest in wrestling? Don't feel afraid to comment about that too, because this is a show that covers all sports.
Hey TJ, you should definitely check out the new Roadhouse. It's enjoyable.
Damn it, lost it. Anyway, yes, the new Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor. You've seen it. Rotten Tomatoes score. What's your percentage? What are you giving it?
It's an enjoyable movie. It's probably something I'll rewatch. Obviously they did. It's not the original, but it's.
So you saw it in theaters? Like, what is it streaming?
No, it's on Amazon Prime. Okay. Hell no, I would never go to the movies to see shit like this. I'd be pissed. Hell no. But it's enjoyable.
Well, how do you what meets your criteria? What type of movie brings you to the movie theater? So for me, for example, it has to be a very visually striking, like an Avatar type movie, where I can go and be like, oh my God, look at this thing.
It has to be something that for me, it has to be something that I got really it's something intriguing. Something that I don't think I can wait for. Let's see.
What's the last movie you saw in theaters?
The last movie I saw in the theaters was probably, I want to say Equalizer 3. Was probably the last movie I saw in theaters.
Was that the one with Queen Latifah?
Hell no. No. But yeah, I think Equalizer 3 was the last movie I actually saw in the theaters.
So going back to Tiger here, this article is from Mark Schlabach, ESPN senior writer, from March 30th. Tiger Woods made a trip to Augusta National Golf Club on Saturday, perhaps a sign that the 15-time major champion intends to tee it up at Masters on April 11th. Woods, 48, would be making his 26th Masters appearance. The 5-time Masters champion can break a tournament record with his 24th consecutive made cut after tying Gary Player and Fred Couples last year. Woods withdrew before the rain-delayed third round resumed last year after aggravating plantar fasciitis in his right foot. It says here, some account on X, formerly Twitter, tracked his golf stream. He was about to land in Augusta. Woods has played only one full competitive round on the PGA Tour this season. He withdrew after 6 holes of the second round at the Genesis Invitational at Riviera Country Club outside Los Angeles on February 16th because of the flu game. Yikes. So there you go. Tiger Woods is in Augusta. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? That's the tension right now. And then this is also kind of another story I want to talk about with you, Nate, right here. I know we're going to talk about the NFL in just a little bit, but the Cowboys.
I saw this.
Uh, the Cowboys have made almost no moves,
Nothing.
agency wise.
The only person they signed was Eric Kendricks.
Yes.
And he's old, so I don't understand they didn't do anything. Like you played great all year, and you get to the first round, the divisional round, and you get your ass smoked by Green Bay. And the best you could do was Eric Kendricks.
They said if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's sort of best because I think Leighton Vander Esch he retired.
He retired. Yep.
So instead of trying to find someone younger, you went and got Eric Kendricks.
He's been around.
He's for sure been around. I don't understand the Cowboys thought process. Maybe they were thinking like maybe we'll revamp in the draft. Maybe I just didn't. I don't get it. I don't understand anything that they're doing as an organization besides wanting to keep their fans sad every year.
So last year was interesting because they lost Zeke last year, and everyone was curious how Tony Pollard, as kind of the change of pace back, would hold up, and didn't really pan out. He never really had a breakout game. He had a few games, receiving wise, he was okay, I think, but he never really turned into what
he was. A terrible running back. Let's be honest. Tony Pollard was a bad running back.
To put it lightly, they didn't rely on him.
No, they couldn't.
To score
so
points.
Dak had to throw the ball more than he should have.
Yeah.
So now your running back room is
they lost Tony Pollard to the Titans.
Yeah, so now they just have Deuce Vaughn and some practice squad guys. And you think bringing in Zeke is going to be the solution to this?
I think Zeke is a cheap, good start for them. He's familiar, obviously, with the offense, and
I wouldn't go back down there, bro.
I think he'd be motivated because if they do draft someone, this is a weaker running back draft class, so he could still compete.
Yeah. This running back class, oh my god, this has probably been the worst running back class in a while. So,
Barry Sanders is going to get signed to the Cowboys. That's exciting. Thank you, TJ. But no, that's interesting. Let me read some of these actual words here from. Doesn't say who wrote this. Mike Reese contributed. Dallas Cowboys and free agent running back Ezekiel Elliott have mutual interest in reunion. Sources tell ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Deal has not been reached. Both sides open. Yada, yada, yada. So it talks about how Elliott played for the Patriots and had an okay year.
He didn't even have he had a piss poor year. It wasn't okay. That shit was below average.
I think people thought he was totally washed, and I do think he showed that he wasn't totally washed.
That's true too, but I mean, I guess if they want to sign him, great. But for me, honestly, it's a bad move. It looks bad on your organization. It really does. Like y'all, you didn't do it, and then you lost more than you gained. You lost a lot of players, and only person you brought in was Eric Kendricks, and that was it.
I think I should have pulled up like the cap space for teams this year. I do think they're dealing with some issues as far as we're going to talk about this later, but Dak and Mike McCarthy are going into their last years of their contracts, and then CeeDee Lamb I think just got paid. He was like the highest paid receiver this past year.
Well, they told Dak they're not paying him. They're not, their contract talks are stalled. They're like, this is a prove it year. So either he's gonna have to prove it or his ass is up out of there.
So yeah, it is interesting. I think This is a great comment from TJ here because Aaron Rodgers was floated as a vice presidential candidate for RFK. So it didn't actually pan out that way, but TJ, I'm right behind you, man. I would vote for him. Aaron Rodgers, whenever you hear that a guy, when in the draft process, whenever you hear that a guy is too smart for their own good, it just means that they're not a yes man. So, you know, they said that about Josh Rosen, who ended up sucking. Granted,
Terrible. That
he's not a
fucking
good football
terrible.
player, but they said that about Aaron Rodgers, and here we are, all these years later, and Aaron Rodgers is like one of the coolest guys I know. But TJ, God damn it. He just wants to get us off the rails, Nate. I had something in mind. Yes, women's tournament. This is mostly football, and we are talking about women's basketball right now. Isn't that exciting?
Dude, the fucking whatchamacallit, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is gonna she is going to be a very, very, very popular player when she gets to the league. Like she is gonna her Angel Reese, they're gonna bring a different they're gonna bring a different
Talking about this later, TJ.
a
Stick
different
around.
audience. They're gonna bring a different audience to the WNBA. I think this is probably gonna be where they really start to pick up traction.
Well, now that you bring that up, from what I understand, she's been invited to the Big Three. Do you think she should go to the Big Three?
Well,
Ice Cube?
no, not at all. She wouldn't survive.
What do you mean? She
She
scored the
would
most
not.
points ever in college history.
She would listen to me. She Kenyon Martin said this best. It's 3-on-3, and she wouldn't be. There's no place for her to hide. Okay, there's not.
You
There's
don't
no
think she
way.
would dribble circles around Kenyon Martin?
No, I no.
I think
Those
she'd
guys.
cross him up. I think she'd give him the Ty Lue. I
No,
think she'd hit him
no.
up like
She wouldn't.
Iverson.
She wouldn't. She wouldn't stand a chance in a 3-on-3 game. Like she wouldn't. She wouldn't stand a chance. No, no. She just go to the WNBA and say that because she wouldn't. Absolutely not.
I'll tell you this. The first game she plays in the Big Three would be Jake Paul-esque attraction. It would have
Yeah,
eyes.
for sure it would be, but it would end. It would
TJ,
end.
don't let's just not.
It,
TJ's
it
got the
would end
whiskey
in a
out
really
tonight.
bad. It would end in a really bad way for her.
Next thing you know, TJ's going to tell us he could get Ronda Rousey in an armbar.
But no, it's her and Angel Reese and the rest of those girls that are coming out that's gonna be in the league. They're gonna bring in more attention to the WNBA than the WNBA's had in years.
So we've got South Carolina #1 taking on the Beavers. Even better when it's a female team. Sorry.
I think I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest. I think it's gonna be they get a rematch. She has to win this game.
Oh,
She
you
has
mean
to.
the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, she has to. She out for blood on this one. There's no way she loses game. After what happened after how they humiliated her last year, after all the shit Angel Reese was talking about her last year. Oh no,
He
absolutely
just
not.
said I would make Rousey tap out. You know
There's
how he would do that? Big body drop.
there's no there's no way Iowa loses. But here's the kicker. LSU got a vendetta with South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
So there's a couple
South
stories.
Carolina. Okay.
I don't think I don't think Oregon State has a shot in this. I'm just so
Could you imagine?
we're not
They're
even talking about that.
totally fucking up everyone's brackets, totally fucking up the media coverage.
Oregon State,
Just like, oh shit, the Beavers.
fucking Beavers.
This is not what we planned.
No. The plan is this. It's either going to be LSU, South Carolina, or LSU, Iowa. I don't think Caitlin Clark is wanting to leave. This is her last year. She wants a national title. There's no way she let those girls beat her. Not this year. I think she's gonna put the team on her back and they're gonna take care of LSU. And then they just gotta get past South Carolina.
Yeah, could you imagine? It would be like if Nikki Haley ended up taking down Donald Trump. Like if the Beavers took down South Carolina, everyone's like, oh shit, now what do we do?
Right?
Nikki Haley is gonna take on fuck, totally
Yeah,
readjust everything.
it's
Actually,
gonna
let me reverse that. It would be like if like Dean Phillips or Marianne Williamson took down Biden, because LSU and Iowa is more of a Trump Haley situation. I think the Beavers and Beavers in South Carolina is much more Dean Phillips Biden representative. Folks, it's mostly football. You came here for one thing, mostly football.
Yeah, it's honestly it's this Final Four is going to be interesting. It it'd be really terrible if Oregon ruined the shit for everybody.
Man, let me remind everyone that I'm watching the one and only ever Eagles Super Bowl victory. Nick Foles versus Tom Brady, and the Malcolm Jenkins hit on Brandon Cooks that absolutely decimated him, decapitated him, has already happened, and that's got me all juiced up. So that's where we are. We just at halftime. It's 22-12. Eagles are up, and Bill Belichick doesn't know what just hit him because the Eagles pulled the fucking greatest play of all time, the Philly special. Trey Burton flips it to fucking Nick Foles for the touchdown. Oh, man. TJ, hot sports take. 76ers will win March Madness. TJ, that might be the hottest sports take of all time, considering the 76ers are a professional basketball sports team. March Madness first NCAA. Get it right, dude. Come on. All right.
Yeah, I think probably the most interesting storyline is going to be Iowa LSU.
Don't you think ideally it would have been Iowa LSU for the title?
Ideally would have been. I would have put LSU on the opposite side, just so we could have that Iowa LSU rematch potentially. But they did it this way, so they're just like, "Hey, fuck it, let's make this." Because I'm gonna tell you like this. Here's the problem I have with this though, is all the excitement is gonna be Iowa LSU. All the news coverage, all the storylines, everything from last year with Angel Reese doing Caitlin Clark's signature celebration in front of her. Once this game is over, whatever team has to play South Carolina, it's not even gonna matter. It's like this is the national championship right here. Iowa LSU, that's the national championship right there.
So do you think whatever team wins that game is winning it all?
Not necessarily, okay. But I mean, that next game is not gonna mean much. I mean, all the excitement is there. That's where this game, Iowa LSU, is where all the excitement is.
TJ's going straight basketball on us. This man's 3 fingers in. I guarantee it.
He's something. But
I'm just glad he's with us. See, TJ, do you want me to send you the link, bro? Hop on. Let's go.
But I think, honestly, I really think that Caitlin Clark wants to win this. She's going to do whatever it takes to win this. And she's going to put this team on her back to get past LSU. And I'm not saying Oregon State. I'm saying South Carolina because I don't see Oregon State upsetting South Carolina. I just don't see it. It's just no possible.
But wouldn't that be? I mean, it would be hilarious.
Fucking awful. It would be terrible if they upset South Carolina.
You know what? I've got a little bit of pocket change. I should put it on Oregon State, dude. Why not?
Dude, if that would be a major upset.
Fucking
I don't even care if they're ranked number 3. That would be a major upset.
Let's go. Let's go, Beavers.
Let's go, Beavers. That would be a terrible. That'd be a terrible scenario for everybody involved. For the media, for just the sponsors.
Media, yeah.
It'd be a terrible. No one's thinking Oregon State's going to get there.
No.
They've been talking about South Carolina, Iowa, and LSU all since the shit started.
So they've got the documentary, the 30 for 30's already been made.
They got everything set up. They got everything set up. So it's I don't know when is it because I'm gonna make sure I catch it because I hadn't watched I've caught like bits and pieces of some of these games. They only put the men's games on TV, so I
The
ain't been able to catch them.
the Beavers
I don't care about
South
that game.
Carolina game is
LSU.
tomorrow.
I don't care about
And
LSU Iowa. I don't care about that.
LSU Iowa is the 1st of April.
The 1st of April, so that's what, Monday?
Yes.
All right. So I'll make sure hope it is it. I'm sure it's gonna be prime time. I don't
Yeah,
think they're gonna put that shit on in the middle of the day.
I think it's 7 p.m. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm like, you know how stupid that'd be to put it on while everybody at work? Ain't nobody working.
So pivoting to the men's basketball tournament, we've already had in our Final Four UConn taking down Illinois in a number 1 versus number 3 beatdown, 77-52. And tomorrow evening, 5:05 p.m., we've got Duke taking on North Carolina State, baby. Nate, what do you know about this one?
Wait, hold up. Am I? Oh, okay. Wait, I'm high. I'm looking at something wrong here. Wait,
Oh,
that's the final. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm in the final 8. Sorry. I had mine up, but I was in the Elite 8. I had the wrong thing set up.
Yeah, you gotta trust me.
The men's, I don't. The men's ain't been that exciting for me. I've been paying more. The crazy thing, I've been paying more attention to the women's side than the men's side.
Oh hell yeah! We might have a third. We might have a menage a trois going on here in just a minute.
Yeah, no, I've been paying more attention to the women's women's than the men's. It's not been that exciting. Alabama beat who did they beat? Alabama beat somebody. And they called it. I was like, that's not really. It's like that's not really an upset, is it?
Alabama. I'll say Alabama anywhere on here.
My thing is, so here's the thing. I'm looking at this right now, and I'm seeing Alabama, Clemson. They're in the second. Something's not right.
Oh, there we go. Never mind.
Yeah. See, I know it wasn't crazy.
Oh wait. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They're playing right now.
I knew I wasn't crazy. I was like, wait a minute. Because Alabama's playing.
Hang on. What's
what
this?
What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Was that last? That's the South. That's why.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So UConn's already there. So UConn's
wait, did I fucked up the women's. Okay, I fucked up the women's too. Let's go back to the women's in just a minute. We got this. All right. Hang on, everyone.
Because I was looking, I was like, where the hell? Like, why I'm not seeing Alabama on here?
Just a second here. So the women's tournament, that's just where I had us.
Okay, so
we don't have a TBD yet. We have that happening.
So
we also have.
So they're not in the Final Four yet. They're still
Texas, NC State, USC, UConn.
There it is. Okay. So we're still in the Elite 8 right now.
Okay.
So their Final Four don't start till April 5th.
Perfect. All right.
Okay. So now we're set. Now we're good.
Glad we got that straightened out. Okay. Perfect. So we still have these 8 teams and these 8 teams. So we're in the Sweet 16 for the women's.
Yeah. So Texas, North Carolina, NC State, UConn. All right. So we're good there.
Okay. And now in the men's, we do have one team determined, UConn.
Yeah. So Alabama, and so UConn's going to play the winner out of Alabama and Clemson.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Purdue and Tennessee. So that winner plays the winner out of Duke and NC State.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're good. Now we're set.
Hell yeah. Man, we should get some updates on this one. Alabama and Clemson going on right now.
Yeah, it's 58-51. Clemson just turned the ball over. So we're gonna see. We might see we might see a heartbreak.
Okay.
In the second half, and it's a 6-point game. So
that's our taste of basketball, folks. TJ's asking, is Queen LeBron in the Final Four? Of course not.
He didn't go to college, sir.
TJ, let me get you this link because we are about to transition to football stuff. Let me get this link sent to TJ. Of course, it's gonna take me a minute. Nate, you got any fodder? While I'm
Anywho,
you got any?
That's what I meant. So yeah, so since we're transitioning over into football, and since you are watching the only Eagles Super Bowl victory, where, sir, do you rank Nick Foles amongst Eagles quarterbacks?
Yes, you asked me this, and this is actually a really good question. Okay, so.
And that's including, Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb, all other Eagles quarterbacks that come in.
Yeah, I think the most prestigious Eagles quarterbacks are Ron Jaworski, Donovan McNabb, and Nick Foles.
Damn, to the top three.
They got it. Let me pull up let me make sure I'm not missing anyone with stats wise because I don't want to do anyone dirty. But I'm pretty sure those are the most prestigious ones. Steve Van Buren.
I think if Chip Kelly wouldn't have fucked that team up, I think Vic could have been up there. I think for sure he could have been. I think he could have been one of those guys. But listen, I think Deshaun Jackson, I think LaShawn McCoy, it was like, yeah, Chip Kelly came in and he fucking torched the roster and he started cutting people and letting people go. And he was just like, yeah, that team would have been special if he'd have been able to keep it together.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for whatever reason, he didn't like speed, he didn't like talent. So he got rid of all those guys.
Yeah, that was the unfortunate thing. I feel like that. And that's what Vic was fresh. He was, right off coming out of jail. He had to show everybody he could still play the game. I mean, shit, he still had it. But Chip Kelly, I think Chip Kelly had the ego.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah, Randall. I forgot Randall. I feel like an asshole for forgetting Randall. So the most prestigious quarterbacks in Eagles history are Ron Jaworski, Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, and now obviously
Nick Foles, because he wasn't the only championship franchise.
So yards wise, right? Rank those three for me. Who do you think is top three yards wise for Eagles quarterbacks? McNabb, Jaworski, and Cunningham.
I'm gonna probably do it. I'm probably gonna be wrong on this one, but I'm probably gonna go McNabb, Jaworski, and then Cunningham. As far as yards go.
You nailed it.
Really?
Yeah, it's McNabb, Jaworski, Cunningham.
Because I felt like it's obviously Donovan McNabb had a lot of weapons. He had a lot of guys to throw the ball to. So I think he for sure would have been able to put up numbers. As far as Jaworski and Cunningham went, I didn't really know too much about them.
Well, and plus it's like a different era. That's the thing that doesn't get accounted for enough too. Is like whenever you can see a record set passing wise or like a guy who's the highest paid quarterback of all time, it's just because we're dealing with like modern numbers. Like offenses change, money changes. Like it doesn't make Matt Stafford a better. I remember that was always the thing. Like, oh, is Matt Ryan the best quarterback of all time? Just because it's like no, it's just modern numbers, dude. You got to deal with that.
So here's another question: do you think Jalen Hurts can get into that conversation?
Before I answer that question, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring on a good friend of the show, a man who is the host of the Unpadded Wrestling Podcast on Facebook. And I'm going to ask if it's also wherever else you get your podcast. And he just had a birthday recently. And he was also one of the original hosts of the Just Be a Dad podcast. Hey, Mr. Whiskey Pro streaming. TJ Bird's in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing, Mr. TJ? Great swig. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
What's up, boys?
Dude, couldn't be happier. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we're going to talk Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Right now, we're on the Eagles, but I appreciate it. WrestleMania is next weekend.
Yep, next weekend.
So we're going to get into that. I cannot wait. But right now, I have to answer this question on Jalen Hurts. And what did you say to me?
Do you think he gets that
conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He was in a losing effort in a Super Bowl already. He unfortunately lost in the playoffs this past season, so that's 2 postseason appearances, 1 Super Bowl appearance.
So he's pretty much tied with McNabb, right? Well, as far as Super Bowl appearances go.
Yeah. Yep. So I think he'll be right in that conversation. And yards-wise, he is already 6th amongst Eagles quarterbacks.
I have a question.
Ask me this question, but I have a question for you first.
10 inches.
Okay, nailed it. No, how old are you, TJ?
38.
38, all right. Nate, do you mind if I ask you?
I'm 36. Yeah.
36, okay. I am the young gun of us. I love that. All right, what's your question, TJ?
All right, serious question. Between Hurts and McNabb, who do you personally like better?
Boy, that's a tough question. I'm going to go McNabb because he's the reason I like the Eagles in the first place.
Okay.
But I respect Jalen in a lot of ways, though. Getting benched in the national championship game, and besides tucking his tail and heading for some D3 school and setting records.
Disrespectful. Jesus.
No, I'm saying he could have just headed for like the Richmond.
Oh, you say he could have.
Yeah, he could have just headed for some like trash team, set a bunch of records, and rested on those laurels. But he goes to Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley, who cranked out 2 number 1 picks and quarterbacks, and
cranked
it right out, just like Val Phoenix. And he tried his best there, and got drafted in the 2nd round after getting benched in the title game and looking like a joke at Alabama, and now he was in a Super Bowl appearance and another playoff. I have so much respect for Jalen Hurts, but McNabb also had a bunch of playoff appearances and Super Bowl appearance, and he went to Syracuse, which is the ultimate trump card because that's where I am ultimately near from. So the hometown trump card. Thank you, and I love you, Donovan McNabb, even though you have weird opinions sometimes. And thank you for that question, TJ.
Absolutely. And real quick, I'm going to take the floor for a second. If anybody knows me well, there's 2 NFL teams that I hate. It's the Eagles and the 49ers. However, I have come to like, forgetting his name, the Kelsey that just retired from the Eagles.
Jason
Kelsey. So he's the man. So cheers to him, and hopefully he enjoys his retirement.
Cheers to Jason Kelsey and his retirement for sure. The tush push will never be the same.
No, it will not.
They ain't gonna need it. You got Quads McGee back behind him. You ain't gonna need it. Shit.
So let's see. Do I have any banners I wanted to bring up? No. So Nate, thank goodness, reminded me of something we have to talk about right now as far as NFL. TJ, I'm not sure if you're passionate about this at all, but this is a new rule that's been introduced to the NFL, and we have to talk about it. There's a new kickoff rule in the NFL. Woo! Guys, we might actually have some kickoffs in the NFL again.
They need something. Shit. The thing here's my biggest issue. The league they want to talk about player safety, but I feel like they're just going about it the wrong way. Because you say, okay, let's protect the players, and then you take the excitement from the game. So I don't get it. There's just one thing is like I just don't understand, and I think they realize like, oh shit, people are not really watching the games like they used to. We need to bring some excitement back to this.
I think there's a video to this article I'm bringing up.
Because did they take? Isn't this new rule is like they took it from the XFL?
Yes. Well, I almost left this site, boys. That was a huge mistake I almost just made. I tried to press the tab and I almost pressed X. Whew. Okay. Thank goodness for that double tap option there. I would have been screwed. So yes, apparently now there's this rule that is being adapted from the XFL to where there's this thing. Okay, so I guess the most important part of the rule is the kickoff is still happening from the team's 35, and the kicker will be kicking it off from there. But the people actually defending the kickoff will be about 5 or 10 yards from the blocking team. And they cannot move until the returner, who is in now what is going to be referred to as the landing zone, and the landing zone is from the goal line to, I believe, the 25-yard line.
So you telling me? Wait a minute. Hold the fuck up. So you telling me as a potential defender, I can't go nowhere until he catches the ball.
Can't move until this guy catches the ball in the landing zone.
So he's going to be full speed by the time I get to second gear.
No, not necessarily.
My ass. No. So okay. So if I'm thinking like this, if I'm thinking this correctly, so the ball's on the 35.
Yes.
Right. And then the defenders, the kickoff team, they're 5 yards from the first line of blockers.
I believe so, yes.
And then there's the kick returner who's in the landing zone. That's from the 25 to the goal line.
Yes.
So realistically, they gave the kicker team the receiving team the advantage because the defending team can't do shit until the ball is caught.
Well, yeah. And I think that's a great thing because the way the rules
it is, but I'm like, holy shit. There's gonna be a lot of kick returns this year. There's gonna be a lot. I think that's why the Pittsburgh signed Cordero Patterson.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
There's gonna be a lot of kick returns this year. So there's gonna be a guy like Tyreek. I can see Tyreek Hill doing some kick returning. I can see a lot of the speed guys doing a lot of kick returns this year.
Yes, everything about the way this rule is incentivized, and I have not watched the XFL, but I've watched a little bit of
catching.
It's supposed to incentivize kick returns.
So if it goes in the end zone, they put it at the 40.
I think so.
That's like kicking it out of bounds.
Basically, kickers don't do that.
So you have to you're incentivized to keep it in bounds.
Yes, and to kick it to the guy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm liking this. I'm liking this new rule.
This is truly bringing back returns.
This is going to bring this is going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
Like
the only thing I don't love about it is when you watch it happen. The guys defending you are right there. So as soon as they get past their blockers, you got to be a pretty shifty returner. But this is definitely incentivizing return.
I just again, like I said, it's a 5 yard difference. So my blockers can get up on them quick before. So if you need a play to win the game or you need something, this is gonna be it. This is for sure gonna be it.
Oh, I love this rule change.
I do. I love this one. I love it. I love it a lot. This is gonna be interesting. I can't wait for the season.
Mr. Burns?
Huh? What happened? Who did it?
Do you have feelings about this rule change either way? Like it, love it, neutral?
I'm neutral on it, honestly. The NFL is constantly changing rules, so if it makes the game better, great. If not, who cares?
Absolutely. So
yeah, I'm loving this one.
You know what, dude? Now that we have you here, let's make a quick real shift because let's Talk about this another NFL rule change real quick, and then we'll shift to a TJ friendlier topic, and we can all talk about it because I do like wrestling too.
So I'm split on this one here. We get ready to talk about.
We are yet
I'm
again
split on it.
restricting the ways defenders can hit people.
It's okay. So I've been ever since this has been coming. I've been hearing a lot of people back and forth about, oh, it's so. If you look at the examples that they played during the meetings, I get it. The shit it's a thing. It's everything in football is dangerous. This one just more of there's a higher percentage of the play of the receiver or running back getting hurt.
Right.
I understand it. On the flip side, as a defender, I gotta think about my coverage. I gotta think about the guy I'm supposed to be covering. I gotta read shit before it happens. I gotta read shit after it happens. And then on top of that, now I gotta okay, so Derrick Henry's running past me. What the fuck do I do now? Do I jump on his back? Do I trip him? What do I do? So it's a double-edged sword. Honestly, it's good and bad. But as a defender, I mean, there's just so much that defenders have to concern themselves with. You can't hit a defensive receiver. You can't if they run past you, you can't jump on their back and twist them to the ground. There's a lot. There's a lot with this rule, and just
if you're hitting the quarterback, you can't put your weight on him. You can't hit him low. You can't hit him high.
Yeah, I think the game is because before, back in the day when Ray Lewis and them guys, all they had to worry about is the coverage and where the ball's at. Now you got to worry about where I can hit him, when I can hit him. Should I hit him high? Can I hit him low? It's a lot for defenders to have to concern themselves with. And I think the NFL they're going to see this year. I think there's probably going to be a spike in scoring, especially with this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a cornerback projected in the first round this year who weighs 175 pounds.
Right, that's one of Derrick Henry's legs.
To bring down, 250-pound Derrick Henry. Now, TJ, this one hits a little closer home to you. Obviously, you have someone in your household who's been affected by multiple injuries playing football. So I am curious to see your take on this one.
Again, I know it's a cop-out answer, but I'm kind of neutral on it because I see where they're coming from. They're trying to protect the players, but at the same time, you're going to keep changing the game of football. It's not going to be football anymore. So if it helps out the players, great. But how many more rules are we going to change?
And the thing is,
when you watch flag football, do you find it exciting or no?
Flag football?
Yeah.
No. I would much rather watch the paint dry on the grass.
Only time I enjoy watching flag football is when it's with children, like kids, because they're kids. It's fun for them. But as adults, it's like grown men playing flag football.
They try to get canceled for sure.
No, I can't.
You're not going to be able to allow around a school in 200 yards.
Because there's like 7-on-7 flag football, and a lot of these young kids they go there, and it's exciting because it's fucking kids. Like you don't want to see guys like Derrick Henry wearing fucking flag on his waist, and no, you don't. Who wants to see that shit? But I believe at some point it's probably going to head that way.
Yeah,
at some point, because after a while it's going to be like, what's going to be next? It's going to be the low tackles. You know how when guys go for Derrick Henry knees and going for tight ends, after a while they're not going to be able to do that. After a while, it's going to be like, hey, figure it out.
Well, and I'm going to say this. I know this is a completely different topic, but we talk about injuries, and Dylan, you brought up, like Carter's had a lot of knee injuries lately, and you want to knock out a lot of that off. Go back to grass fields. Get rid of turf.
Exactly.
Get rid of turf. I absolutely think turf is horrible for so many reasons. I mean, it's like playing on a trampoline,
Basically,
and
that
it's
shit is
just.
terrible.
And how many? What was it? I think it was 1 or 2 games last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they put too much turf down.
Yep.
That you're walking on rubber. That's not good for your ligaments, your joints, your muscles.
Not.
So
I've lost skin to turf. I've I don't enjoy turf. Turf is probably the worst because I think when we got turf is like right when they started putting those little black seeds in there.
mhm.
That shit is not good for anybody. It's not. But well, based off what they're saying is that the amount of injuries that occurred on turf and grass is kind of like similar, so it's really no point. I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit, to be honest with you.
Imagine they just use like a bunch of poppy seeds.
Yeah, it's not fun to play on. It's terrible. But
I
hey,
think it's like tore up tires. I think it's like rubber.
it's like recycled tires, but it's fucking annoying. But I mean, like I said, this rule, this is a good thing, it's a bad thing. Like I think there was some offensive players that came out in the defense of this rule. Obviously defenders are like, go fuck yourself because what are we supposed to do now? Type shit. So I mean, we're gonna see how it plays out. We're gonna see what type of adjustments that are made. But I mean, as a defender in the league now, what do you do? Like, what do you do as a defender? Should I just bring a chair with me to the field and just smack people with it? Because clearly, I can't do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, the pro game as a whole is
terrible.
You kind of wonder where it's going with all these kids in college making the NIL money, and then these restrictions on defense making it very unappealing to play defense to begin with. So, it kind of reminds me of like UFC. I mean, in the original days of UFC, you could do a lot of things that you can't do now.
Shout out to Don Fry.
Shout out to Don Fry. Shout out to all the biting, the punching to the nuts that used to happen. So I just wonder if it's one of those things that, as much as we hate the change, it's just going to happen, and as a society, we'll get used to it, and we'll pay for that. I mean, so the Pro Bowl skill challenge now is flag football, and most of youth football now is flag football, and I think parents are okay with that because they want their kids to be safe. So ultimately, I think that stuff will kind of trump what we enjoy as barbarians and savages wanting to see guys get lit up and jacked up like they used to be.
I'm gonna be honest. That's the funny thing is like I enjoy football. Football's been my life since I started playing it. I've enjoyed basketball a whole hell of a lot more than I have football within these recent years because it's like, what the fuck do you do? Like, what are you supposed to do as a defender? They've made the game easy for the offense. Shit, offense, you can throw the ball in the middle field and shit. Your guy get tagged, that's 15 yards.
That's why I'm still a fan of the Army-Navy game because it's old school football. Those guys do that.
College honestly is better. College is honestly better. It's just that pro football, the NFL is just. Now, I have not watched the XFL stuff, the UFL. I'm gonna have to check that out because I know their season started this weekend, so I'm gonna have to check out.
Oh, absolutely.
Their games are better. NFL they got some problems.
Now, TJ, who is Shawn Michaels referring to when he says he's excited for former NXT wrestlers making their WrestleMania debut?
I had a feeling when you sent me the invite, you were talking about wrestling a little bit. You brought this up. You were going to ask me about it. And I got to be honest. So I'm a Monday Night Raw guy. I watched a lot of Monday Night Raw. I watched a little bit of Friday Night SmackDown because
a little bit. You don't watch it?
I dabble in it. I don't really keep up with it as much. But as far as NXT, I don't know. To answer your question, I don't really keep up with NXT. It's not really my thing. Those guys and gals do a great job. I've seen the show occasionally, but I don't know who they're talking about.
So I think he's referring to these guys. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Dragon Lee, because all those guys are making their first WrestleMania appearance this year.
Gotcha.
And it's honestly, dude, but it's
those exciting names?
They are, yeah, all those guys. So for me, man, I like the storyline. I like the cinematic stuff that they're doing. How they don't break. You know how like they followed Randy Orton, like how they're
Hmm.
following Randy Orton from the ring to the back without cutting. Like that shit is exciting. That shit is entertaining. I think they had to wait for the old man to lead the company before they can do all this exciting shit. So I
Yeah, that's a story.
it's been more it's honestly it's been more exciting than it has been in since while the old man was running it.
We talked about this on the show the last couple of weeks, and I really do think, and you see the memes on Facebook, on social media, on TikTok, this is literally the Attitude Era 2.0. That's what this
Yeah.
is. I mean, they brought back. Well, they have the LWO now, which Rey Mysterio is a part of, Dragon Lee's a part of. They have all these storylines, of course. The Rock is cussing a lot. Cody Rhodes is cussing a lot. They're having to bleep out so much that, and that's the other thing. I mean, a story within a story. They're going to Netflix in
Yeah.
January.
And they say
So,
they say they will not be bleeped on Netflix. They
and
say everything is going to be uncensored.
I don't have a problem with them bleeping it out. And here's why: it's a business decision for two reasons. Number one, obviously, it's I say cable TV, it's network television, right?
Mhm.
And they have to keep it somewhat family friendly. I mean, if the average parent takes their kid to a show and all you hear is 15 F bombs in the matter of the first 30 minutes, they're probably not going to come back.
That's why I have a problem with AEW. That's kind of why one of the reasons, one of the problems I have with AEW is that they they just say shit. Like they just like was that did you have to say the F word right there? Was that necessary? Did
Right.
you have
And
to say shit right there? Was it necessary? It just like the whole Rock and Cody situation. Like I get it. Like his family was you disrespected my family. Yeah, I'm probably gonna drop a lot of F bombs towards you because we got a problem. But it's a part of the storyline. It's not like a everyday promo. For AEW, everyday promos is like shit this, bitch that, fuck this. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we really doing here?
It feels forced.
yeah, it feels a little forced. And
It
that's
does.
the thing. I say this all the time, and I've always said this about wrestling. Wrestling is an art form, and it's a
Mhm.
story within a story. You're telling a story. And while there's a lot of emotion, they're bleeping out the cuss words, all that fine. That I don't have a problem with it. Um, but you're telling a story and you want it to make sense. Well, if I'm watching it on TV and The Rock is just cussing a bunch, I'm not getting a story. I'm getting raw emotion, which is great, but I'm not getting any type of a story. So I think there's a fine line, and I'm curious to see how they're going to do it when they go over to Netflix. But that's a
I
whole nother
think
topic.
I think they're gonna keep it the same. But I think they just got I think they probably because with Triple H, you know Triple H, he likes to push the envelope a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna get like we all both know that Triple H and The Rock had conversation like, okay, this is how far we can go with this. Like
Right.
we don't want to push it too far to the point where it's like it feel like it's just forced. Like we don't like obviously we can't do attitude era shit, but we are going to like Monday was surprising when when they let Cody bleed on TV. That was a bit shocking because you know they don't do that anymore.
Right.
And
So
I mean, if they bleed is usually pay per view, but for it to happen on Monday, it tells me that they're really trying to tell this raw story between the hatred between The Rock and Cody.
So that's like the hot story right now in wrestling.
Yeah, the
Rock and
hell yeah.
Cody.
That's the big thing, and it's what gets lost in translation in all this is Cody is trying to finish his story against Roman Reigns, who defeated him last year, and the main event at WrestleMania. Cody won the Royal Rumble for a second year in a row to fight Roman Reigns again. So technically, he's going against Roman Reigns, but in order to do that, he has to beat The Rock and Roman Reigns night one.
Yep.
Of WrestleMania. So, well, he doesn't have to. I mean, he's going to face him regardless. There are some stipulations that go in there, but he has to get by The Rock and Roman Reigns night one, and then fight Reigns night two.
Ideally,
So,
you want to win, but I don't think. I think what's gonna make this story a little bit more intriguing is them losing night one and him having to go through the bloodline rules and still find some way figure out a way to win.
And there's, it not to take away from that whole story, but the thing I love about WWE right now, they have a stacked roster across the board.
Yes, they do.
Men's, women's. I was just watching while I was talking to you guys when you guys popped on. I was watching SmackDown from last night, and
man, they stacked, dude.
Ricochet and JD McDonough, who I'm not a fan of. I can't stand JD McDonough, but those two, they put on a clinic with one another. And it's fun to watch. And it's just, whether you're a diehard wrestling fan or you're just somebody who just turns it on week to, every so often, you can at least still keep up with the storylines. Two guys that I'm really big on, who I don't think get enough love in the business, is Chad Gable and Otis. I love both of those guys. They're both amazing. Chad Gable just had a 5-star match, I think, about a month ago with Sami Zayn. Or not even
that gauntlet. That
gauntlet match.
I think they're going to include him into the Sami Zayn storyline.
But they had a hell of a match. And Otis, if you don't know nothing about WWE, do yourself a favor and look up Otis, Otis, WWE. This guy is a massive man. Not so much tall.
He's short in stature.
He's massive, and he is an athlete. He actually does a backwards worm. It's hilarious, but it's funny to see that he's so big yet so athletic, and he loves what he does. He's having fun with it. Chad Gable, I've said this, and I've gotten a lot of heat from this. We actually got some hate mail a few weeks ago. I said that Chad Gable is the second coming of Kurt Angle, and I truly believe that. I'm not saying that for the show. I honestly believe that.
I would agree with that.
I really
neck.
No, not so much the broken neck. Just he has that Olympic wrestling style, and he's very athletic. And I don't think there's anything he can't do. His mic skills, they're not the greatest, but they're not the worst either. I've seen a lot worse. But he's still fun to watch, and his matches are really fun to watch.
So let me ask you this question, TJ. I'm gonna
hold on, because I don't want to forget this point, because I'm going to forget if I don't get this right now. So you were bringing up great wrestlers and classic wrestling. We're talking about Vince McMahon. I heard a rumor recently were Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit killed because they knew too much about Vince McMahon.
Oh, gosh, no, they were not. They were not.
No. Yeah, what it? Nah, I highly doubt that.
Eddie had heart trouble. He had drug issues. Ultimately, I think what killed Eddie was his heart. I don't want to say exploded, but he had a massive heart attack essentially. With Chris Benoit, look, there is conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory that he was set up, that the whole family was murdered. Nobody will ever truly know what happened.
They say CTE was a big part of what happened with him.
We talked about this, I think, like our first two shows. But Chris Benoit was one of the best to ever step foot inside the ring. Outside the ring, he's a piece of trash. because of what he did, and I have no problem saying that. And I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm being serious.
I agree.
He was one of the best to ever step foot in the ring. Inside.
I'm glad you say that, because some people are such pussies they can't even say that anymore. Like, he was a great wrestler. He was a great part of.
He was outstanding.
If you separate the art from the artist, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
If you can tell me you don't listen to Thriller anymore, like, fuck off. Like, that's. The product, I can listen to Ignition and recognize it as a good song, and not like R. Kelly as a person.
One of my favorite matches to go back and watch was it was actually New Japan Wrestling, and it was when Eddie and Chris Benoit first got introduced to one another. A lot of people don't know this. They hated each other in New Japan. Like, they literally beat the shit out of one another. Legitimately, they beat the hell out of each other. And they would go back home, call their wives, man, I'm fighting this guy. His name's Eddie Guerrero, and he's too fast, and he's too stiff in the ring, and blah blah blah. They ended up becoming best friends, and it's still when I still love going back and watching their old matches from New Japan, WCW, ECW, WWE. They're all great to watch, but again, he was great inside the ring. But you take what he did outside the ring, and it's like, no, he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame. It's that simple.
Yeah, he's not good. But here's my question for you, TJ. Let me see where I can gauge your wrestling knowledge here, sir. How do you feel about Jake Paul as an in-ring competitor? No. Separate
I know.
Jake Paul.
I think he belongs in WWE.
Okay. I thought I was gonna have to lead the podcast real quick.
I cannot stand that family. Any of the brothers, I don't like any of them.
Either.
But when you see what he did, was it 2 years ago with him and Ricochet in the Royal Rumble, and they met at midair and they collided, I knew right then and there, was like, this kid belongs here.
I think the match for me was probably when he I think it was him and Miz when they went 1-on-1. I think after that I was like, because like going through Twitter and Instagram and listening to people say, "Oh, forget what he is outside of the ring. Inside, you can tell the person who put in the work."
Mm-hmm.
And he realizes this isn't he knows that a lot of these people are not going to like him, but he's put in the work to be here. And now, I'm just like, his mic skills can use a little work, but as a competitor and his skill wise, oh yeah, he's up there. He definitely belongs there.
He's one of those kind of heels, and if you don't know what a heel is, it's a bad guy. In wrestling, you have baby faces, good guys, heels, bad guys. He is one of the heels of this generation who I absolutely love to hate. Another guy that I love to hate.
Randy Orton.
Yes, I absolutely love to hate Paul Heyman, but I love Paul Heyman. I love Paul Heyman. Everybody loves Paul Heyman, but when you see Jake Paul come out, you're just like, ugh. When you see Logan Paul come out, you're just like, ugh. And then you watch him and you're like, okay.
You got to give credit where credit is due. You have to.
Now, in the absence of Vince McMahon with everything that's going on, who is recognized as like the head of everything? Is it Triple H?
Yeah.
Triple H.
He's
yes.
the head. He is the head of content of whatever. I forgot. They gave him a new title, but he's basically the head creative.
For both.
He has creative
for
control.
Raw and SmackDown?
Yeah.
Yes.
For Raw and SmackDown.
Okay.
So
now they have different writers, obviously, different shows, different and even different segments. So one writer may do something for Paul Heyman one week, and then the next week that same writer may do something for Jake Paul, and then the next week he may do something for Randy Orton. So they have writers that take on different roles, and I think what they're doing is they're keeping it fresh, the new ideas with the same storyline.
Yeah,
they're like, hey, you take this for 2 weeks, and then we're going to give it a, we take story A, we're going to give it to John, and then John, you do it for 2 weeks, then take story A and give it to Bill, and then y'all two swap. And
the only thing
it keeps.
But is it only Raw that's going to be on Netflix, or are they both going to be on Netflix?
Just Raw for now.
Just Raw for now. SmackDown got a contract with Fox. No, contract with USA, because they're going back to USA in 2025, I think. But my only issue is like, yeah, they have a stacked roster, but there's so many of those individuals who you never see that never actually get their opportunities. Like, what was it? Hit Row. They brought them back after, like, once Vince left, they brought back a lot of guys that he fired. Like a lot of the men and women he fired, they brought back, and then a lot of them they brought back. It's so much talent that at some point you get pushed to the side, and then at some point, we can't afford to keep you here because you're not really doing anything.
That's my fear. That's my fear with Chad Gable and Otis, because I don't
think that's going to happen with them, because of who they are, and you see them every week.
Yeah, but keep in mind, look at Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah,
Dolph Ziggler floated around. Now, look, you say whatever you want about Dolph Ziggler. I mean, he was at the very top. He was at the very bottom. He was a mid-carder. He was all over the place. But nobody is as athletic as that guy is. And when they let him go, I was just like, what? Why?
I wonder if it had to be a mutual agreement between them two. But because he wasn't on TV for a while. Like he Like he was like he was on and off, and then like at one point he was off for a while. So we'll have to see. But TJ, are you going to watch that new documentary on Monday for Bray Wyatt?
I won't watch it Monday, but I will watch it the week before.
Yeah.
I'll watch it before
I
WrestleMania.
don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch it. I don't honestly I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch it.
And what he's referring to, folks, is there's a new documentary out about Bray Wyatt. I cannot remember his real name to save my life.
His name is Wyndham Rotunda.
Wyndham Rotunda. Okay,
Yeah.
so Bray Wyatt was the character he betrayed, or he played, and he passed away. Was it this year? I believe.
Yeah, it was this year. Late last year.
Late last year. That's right.
Yeah.
And his brother Bo Dallas, who I don't know his real name either, but Bo Dallas basically was really big behind the documentary. And man, I tell you what, it's gonna be rough to watch because I was a big fan of Bray Wyatt, and he got praise from Triple H, he got praise from The Undertaker, he got praise from Stone Cold, he got praise from John Cena. That right there alone shows you the talent and the mind that he had for the business. So for him to get that much praise still to this day, that says something.
Yeah,
it'll be hard to watch.
I saw the trailer. I was like, yeah. It's like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch this. Nah, at least I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through it. I don't know. Like that shit. When I heard it, I was like, this isn't real. Like that's like there's no fucking way. This is a joke. This is a gag. And then when Triple H announced, I was like, well, here we go.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's one of those things where like, yeah, this is not gonna be a fun documentary to watch.
Fun fact: I used to work at a car dealership in New York, and while I was working there, there was a young lady who worked there whose last name was Rotunda. Her uncle was IRS, and her cousin was Bray Wyatt.
Dad. Yeah,
wow.
That's their dad. Yeah, that's
wow.
So that was pretty cool.
I just damn, dude, like this is gonna be because they're gonna break down the life. It's I don't know, man.
They're gonna peel back the curtains. They're gonna peel back the curtains.
It's gonna be a one. So Jesus.
All right. Well, EJ, did you have anything else WrestleMania wise you wanted to bring up?
Not really, man. There's a million different stories going on, which I love. I mean, we're all sick and tired of seeing The Rock and Cody Rhodes every single week, but at the same time,
I'm enjoying it. I love the shit.
I don't mind it. I don't. I just
his mama. Hold up.
I don't mind it. I just I was watching right before I came on here. I was actually watching the SmackDown episode where CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre were going at it. CM Punk came back, which after 10 years, and the way he came back just shocked the world. So it's fun to see what they're doing with all that and everything. And Bayley, one of my favorite wrestlers, just getting to wrestle in WrestleMania. And then you have Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley that are going at it, who I think they're going to tear the house down. So there's a lot of great matches going on. And there's still some wild cards out there. I mean, you've got Damian Priest, who still has his Money in the Bank. He can cash in any time and become champion. You have Chad Gable, who I think is going to somehow end up being involved in WrestleMania with Gunther and Sami Zayn. There's a lot of different things. There's rumors, nothing to be confirmed yet, but there's rumors that John Cena, Undertaker, and Stone Cold Steve Austin will all be attending WrestleMania. Now, whether they'll be fighting, wrestling, making an appearance, I don't know, but they will be in attendance there, so they'll probably be backstage somewhere.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna be there, man.
Now, you know what? We have all night, and we can go as long as we want. We can talk about whatever we want. I have an opinion on this one, but I'm curious to see your guys' opinion. Who is the most famous wrestler who was actually the most boring in the ring? And I'll start off by saying my one, Kevin Nash.
Hulk Hogan.
Ooh.
Hulk Hogan.
Ooh.
That's easy. It's hands down. It has to be Hulk Hogan. There's nobody that's been more. That man was boring. Okay.
I have one.
Who?
Andre the Giant.
Nope.
Who do you have?
Ultimate Warrior.
Oh.
Really?
I gotta go. Hulk. I gotta stick with Hulk because that man, he had one. They want to talk about John Cena 5 moves of doom. This man had one fucking set.
5 moves of doom. I love it. I'm stealing that.
Okay. All right. Hulk Hogan didn't do shit in the ring. His biggest claim to fame was him lifting up Andre Giant. That was it. That's
had
all
the
he had.
body.
No,
slam,
hold up.
the leg drop, the big boot.
Right. That's 4. Give me one more.
His claim to fame. Go ahead.
Go ahead, DJ. Sorry.
His claim to fame was, in fact, the Andre the Giant Slam, the slam heard around the world, as they call it. But the more memorable one for our generation would be when he turned heel because nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming.
No one saw it. You're right. No one saw it coming. But that shit was Hulk Hogan as a performer was boring. He's boring as shit.
I'm not disagreeing.
The reason why I think Kevin Nash is more boring was because Hulk Hogan at least sold that he was getting his ass beat. Kevin Nash was terrible, dude. He couldn't even sell that he was losing. Like he had a sidewalk slam, an elbow, and
a big
power bomb. That was his offense. And then he was terrible at taking a beating because he was so big you couldn't do much with him. He didn't do much on the he just didn't do much. And if you were beating him, it was barely. That's why he was the most boring to me because he didn't have an offense and he didn't even sell that he was getting an ass beat. Whereas Hulk Hogan would I'm pretty sure he was one of the guys who would take a razor blades to his forehead.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. He definitely. It's between, like I said, it's between him and Ric Flair, but Ric Flair was a little bit more entertaining. Hold on. Hold on. Ric Flair was a little bit more entertaining in the ring. Hulk Hogan.
He's grabbing that bottle. You pissed him off now.
Hulk Hogan.
We got more talking to do.
I would rather watch paint peel off the wall than watch Hulk Hogan wrestle a full match.
Dude,
okay,
come on now, Big Sexy. If he didn't have the charisma that he had, he would have never lasted a day in wrestling because he was a terrible wrestler. He had nothing to offer.
Hulk Hogan was terrible on the mic.
How are you going to say Ric Flair?
Listen, Ric Flair, he was a very entertaining personality.
Hulk Hogan was great. Hulk Hogan started wrestling Hulkamania, you fool. Terrible on the mic.
Listen to me. He was terrible on the mic. He was boring. he only got 5 fucking moves. Okay? You name me one exciting Hulk Hogan match.
The Rock versus Hulk Hogan.
The only reason why I was excited was The Rock was involved.
Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan Bill Goldberg, Hulk Hogan Sting. Come on now.
Edge, Shawn Michaels.
Now, how about you name me an exciting Kevin Nash match?
Kevin Nash versus Shawn Michaels.
Maybe.
And then the only reason was because he wrestled Shawn Michaels.
Kevin Nash, WrestleMania. He was the great and powerful Oz.
I think he was good. He was good when he was the Diesel, but when he became Kevin Nash, he became extra. But yeah, I gotta stick with Hulk Hogan here. I have to. I have to stick with Hulk Hogan because it was bland for me. It was just it's not a lot of excitement for me.
You're just mad because you don't have his hair.
I would want that hair. He's been having that hair since he was young.
All right. Well, I think we've exhausted the DJ, did you want to add anything more as far as WrestleMania, anything coming up you want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of, beating a dead horse here, but I'm really excited. A lot of different matches going on, a lot of different storylines. So it's fun to keep up with it all. And I really honestly am having a lot of fun with this time that we're in wrestling. Spoiler alert, I think that Cody actually does somehow, some way find a way to finish his story.
Oh, yeah, he definitely do that.
Now, will it be on a one-on-one with Roman Reigns, or will he have to fight The Rock and the Bloodline and whoever else shows up? I don't know that. Will Seth Rollins turn on him? Will Jey Uso turn on? I don't know all those answers, but I do feel like that Cody Rhodes will finish his story night 2 at WrestleMania. So
Here's a spoiler. There's going to be Bloodline Ruse, and The Rock's going to turn on Roman.
Am I wrong in remembering, did he do some sort of revival of Goldust? Was he Stardust or something like that?
He was Stardust, yes. He was Stardust, and that was kind of a big
that was the
reason.
end of his career at WWE.
Yeah, and that's when he went off to the Indies, and he made AEW what it is now. And he felt like he had kind of, AEW had kind of run its course. And the one thing I'll say about wrestling is time heals all wounds. You don't believe me? Look at Bret Hart. Look at Shawn Michaels, CM Punk. So I feel like they brought him back at the right time in a really good era. And I'm repeating myself here, but this is honestly a stacked roster that they have, and there are so many different ways they can go. You got Randy Orton back, you got AJ Styles back. It's fun to watch. It really is. There's not a whole lot that I get bored with. The whole Bloodline storyline, I'm kind of over it, but they're keeping it interesting enough for me to keep tuning back in. So I'm really curious to see where else they go with it. So that's all I got.
I think that's a huge credit to all the people behind the scenes that after the Attitude Era has come and gone, right? And you've got this era of wrestling that a lot of people refer to as for kids. It's sanitized, it's washed, it's not interesting. And then you also have the Vince McMahon stuff, and now that's playing. And then you also have the fact that it's like, okay, what are we doing with Netflix? Where's that going? And who are our stars right now? So for you to say, as a passionate wrestling fan, to say that wrestling is super interesting right now after all that change, and the different things that are going on, it is huge for the people that are actually pulling the strings right now as far as keeping it together, whether it's really Triple H or other people. I think that's a huge testament to them and all the work they're doing and keeping people engaged with everything that's going on in the world of wrestling.
Well, and see that the thing about it is you look at things like The Simpsons, South Park, you look at wrestling, you look at sitcoms, for crying out loud. Everything's been done 100 times over. Everything's been regurgitated. Everything's been recycled. And wrestling fans aren't stupid. We know, like, yeah, we've seen this before. It's not so much that we've seen the story before. It's how are you going to present it in a new fashion and an updated fashion and keep us coming back for more. And,
right.
To their credit, that's exactly what they're doing. I'm a part of a Facebook group on a few different things, and they're all saying the same thing about wrestling there right now. And they were like, essentially, even though he's not the quote unquote boss, when you add Rock into the mix with the Bloodline, this is essentially Austin versus McMahon 2.0. And that's not too far from it. Now, Cody Rhodes is not anti-establishment, so there's not that factor in it. I mean, he's very much a working man's, wrestler. But the fact that they're able to shine new light on a story that's been told 100 times over. I mean, wrestling's been around since I think the 30s or 40s.
I mean, going back to all the old school guys and the catch weight and beating the shit out of each other.
Right. So the fact that they're finding ways to tell the same story in new different lights and shine a new light on it in a modern time, it really it speaks volumes. It really does.
Well, and we're already the thing that I was going to mention too. I mean, not just the change from cable television to streaming services, but also we've gone through the Me Too era of women and how you can portray them, and cancellations and the divas, right? We used to have, here's the puppies and here's this and that, and all that stuff, and so going through, and also the cancellations of can't be racist anymore. Well, there goes the whole Iron Sheik and the Nation of Domination, all that stuff. Well, these guys are Russian, so they suck, and these guys are black, so they suck. The one-man gang becoming Mustafa and all the sorts of things. So those things are out the window. So wrestling has had to adjust to being very scandalous and very politically incorrect, and to still being engaging to people who are growing up in that society now. So it's a big, again, it's a testament to the changing of times.
I mean, you bring up the female division. I mean, in the 90s in the Attitude Era, it was all about, it was sex sells. It's essentially what it was. You had bra and panties matches, you had pillow fights, you had mud wrestling. And the women's division now, man, is, again, the roster is just stacked with competition. And you got Charlotte Flair, who eventually will come back. And I think it was last year when her and Rhea Ripley were
at WrestleMania.
Yeah, at WrestleMania. And just, golly, they put on a clinic, and they tore the house down. And if you go back and you watch at the end of that match, when Rhea Ripley is celebrating, Charlotte Flair is sitting at the end of the ropes, and they kind of look at one another with a huge shit-eating grin, like, we just tore this place down. And they loved it, and they had fun with it. You look at, Charlotte Flair's going to come back. Rhea Ripley's doing her thing. You've got Bayley with against Damage Control. You've got Becky Lynch. You've got Nia Jax. It's a stacked roster. What they did at the Royal Rumble, they brought in the TNA champion, Impact Women's Champion to the Royal Rumble, which was unheard of. Liv Morgan is back. Now there's a rumor going around that eventually, after WrestleMania, AJ Lee, CM Punk's wife, is going to be coming back. So there's a million different ways they can go with that. So they're constantly bringing in new people. They're coming up with new ideas, new storylines, new rivalries. And it's a never-ending cycle of stuff. And like I said, it's an interesting time, and it's a lot of fun to watch. R-Truth, 50, I think he's 51, 52 years old.
They need to protect him. He's a fucking national treasure.
Yes, he is. And I've said this, and I've said this. There are 3 guys that I think belong in the Hall of Fame in wrestling. I don't care if it's in WWE, AEW. I don't care if it's in the Wrestling Hall of Fame in the world, whatever. R-Truth, Al Snow, and Dustin Rhodes, a.k.a. Goldust. Those 3 guys need to go in the Hall of Fame. It's got to happen. It has to. And, so seeing R-Truth come back and do the things that he's doing at 50-something years old, man, that's wow.
This is comedy with that dude.
Does the Hall of Fame coincide with WrestleMania, or is that a different time of year?
It's the Hall of Fame is Friday after SmackDown. Yes.
Paul Heyman's going to be.
We know the nominees already.
What's that?
We know the nominees already.
Paul Heyman's one.
Paul Heyman, Bray Wyatt's uncles, I believe, are in it.
Yeah, they usually announce it, but I guess either I missed them or I just, because typically they usually announce them doing SmackDown and Raw. But
Muhammad Ali will be in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
The big thing, obviously, WrestleMania 40 is called WrestleMania 40 XL. It's supposed to be the biggest WrestleMania ever because it is 40 years. Paul Heyman's getting inducted into Philadelphia. Now, if you know anything at all about wrestling, ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, Paul Heyman is the man that created ECW, made it what it was. He took it over, and it was basically a big middle finger to the establishment. They did things that were unheard of. I was a diehard ECW fan, and the fact that they're having it in Philadelphia, that they're going to have a hell of a time getting that crowd to stay quiet because they're going to be chanting ECW for an hour.
Fun fact: ECW, when it first aired on Saturday, when they first started airing on Saturday, I stopped watching cartoons. That's all I watch. I watch ECW every Saturday morning. I watch ECW.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Philadelphia, folks, there's currently 2:30 left in the fourth quarter of this Super Bowl matchup between New England and Philadelphia. The Patriots were winning 33-32 with 2:30 left. 2nd and 7 here. Nick Foles takes the handoff to Corey Clement, and we have a pass. Alshon Jeffrey covered by Stephon Gilmore, and a matchup between Gamecocks that was great, and nothing happened in between there.
This one, Stephon Gilmore was still good.
Yes, we got RD finally in the house. What's up, Sax? What's up, dude? You're just in the right time. We were just talking WWE. We are making our transition to some questions I'm going to ask these guys regarding some moves that were made in the NFL. Currently, I am watching the only ever Eagles Super Bowl victory in the history of the NFL. Nick Foles and the boys taking down the Tom Brady-led New England Patriots in 2017. Jay Ajayi, Alshon Jeffrey, and Zach Ertz scores the touchdown with 2:21 left in the game that I believe is the game sealer here. Oh, that's just as exciting to watch. What, 8 years later, 6 years later now, as it was that. So that's pretty cool.
Fun fact about RD: he actually enjoys beer, cans, and massages with happy endings. If I can say massages, right?
That's a 100% fact. And
Yes.
another fact: Zach Ertz currently with the Washington Commanders. So as much as that hurts me to say, Zach Ertz, good luck and congratulations on your new contract with your new team with the Washington Commanders.
How old is he?
Great question.
Zach Ertz.
He was in that first Chip Kelly class, so that tells you.
So he got to be like, he's definitely north of 30 then.
We need to change the name of the Washington Commanders to the Washington Homelanders. Just saying.
So, boys, now that we have finally transitioned, I thank you so much, TJ, for giving us the ins and outs on WWE with WrestleMania happening soon, the Hall of Fame happening soon. Couldn't appreciate that more. Do you mind sticking around with us for some more NFL talk?
Go for it.
Okay. One question I had here, because we are transitioning to, let me bring up my fancy banner here that I made up. Making our predictions. I'm going to present this question to you first, TJ, since you're here. This is a two-parter, so you have to answer both here. The New York Jets and Miami Dolphins will make the playoffs in 2024. Yes or no?
With the Jets, if Rodgers can stay healthy, yes, they do. If he gets hurt again, no, they're out. They're done. And they will take that whole organization, flip it upside down, and start from scratch. Miami Dolphins. Miami? So we all know that I'm not a huge NFL guy. I watch it on occasion, but I was kind of interested to see what Miami was doing this past year. They were a fun team to watch. I'm going to say they make the playoffs. Now, will they go deep into the playoffs? I don't think so. I don't really see that happening, but I say they make it to the first, maybe the second round of the playoffs.
We talking about the Jets?
No, the Dolphins.
Dolphins.
But my question was both the New York Jets and Miami Dolphins make the playoffs. Do you think that's okay?
I think the Jets will make the. I think the Jets made playoffs because
not if Rodgers ain't there.
The Jets were a quarterback away from being good this year. No one saw Aaron Rodgers going down fucking 2 minutes into the first quarter. No one saw that. But I think if he's
it hurts so much thinking of him running out there with that fucking American flag.
And then he only
just not even lasting to halftime.
Yeah. I think as long as he stays healthy with the receivers they got, I think their offense just needs the quarterback.
Okay, but my question was not if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, do the Jets make it? My question was, do the Jets and Dolphins make the playoffs in 2024?
If Rodgers stays healthy, the Jets make the playoff.
I don't want any caveats.
They can't make it without Rodgers.
Yes or no?
No.
I have to say, I'm going to say yes.
Yes,
I think Rodgers is going to stay healthy. The Dolphins make it? I don't think so because the Dolphins are the Dolphins, and we saw they had a division one, and somehow they managed to lose to Buffalo. So I don't think the Dolphins make it. I think the Jets make it though.
What is the Dolphins head coach's name?
Mike McDaniel.
Mike who?
Ooh, you know
Mike
what?
McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel. Okay, so I think Mike McDaniel is the Wish version of our Dylan Busby here.
Hit me with that assessment.
I'm just saying. That's just what I think. There's no assessment. That's just what I think.
God damn you.
Oh man.
And they also shop at the same store too.
I hope that's correct. I mean, Jesus Christ. If me and Mike McDaniel shop at the same store, he's losing life.
You never know. It might be possible. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised what some of these people wear.
All right, the win total for 2024 came out from DraftKings, and I was trying to find those real quick.
The win totals?
Yeah.
Already?
Yeah.
We ain't even got to the draft yet.
Okay, here we go. Miami Dolphins are at 10.5 wins, and the New York Jets are at 9.5 wins. So both winning records.
That's playoff. Yeah, it's playoff worthy. It just depends on who else have 9.5 wins.
Do we know who the Jets are playing next year?
I think so. I think we at least know the divisions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the record. I think they released the schedules already. As far
So just to have that on the record, I don't want the caveat of if Aaron Rodgers just. So I think you both said yes to the Jets and no to the Dolphins.
Oh, I said the Dolphins would make it.
Okay. So yes to both for TJ and yes to just the Jets for Nate.
Yes, that's correct.
I
have a question for Dylan.
Okay, hit me, dude.
All right. Do you think anybody's going to pick up?
No, you better run me like enough to know the same man.
Dylan, do you think anybody is going to pick up Bill Belichick?
Yes, I think one of the sports networks.
Pick up the what?
Peacock, Fox, ESPN. I think one of them is going to pick him up.
So you don't think he'll be coaching next year?
I don't think he'll be coaching this next year. No.
Okay.
Who are we talking about?
Bill Belichick.
Oh yeah, he gonna get it. He gonna find a job somewhere. Broadcasting. Somebody's gonna offer him a lot of money to come sit in the booth somewhere, or he's on some set to talk football.
So this particular question is more geared toward Nate because I think he's been paying more attention to the draft. But TJ, by all means, pitch in afterwards if you feel inclined. So this question, I've been hearing a lot of chatter that Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy may actually be the third quarterback drafted behind Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels has now moved up to.
All right, let's just stop the bullshit.
Okay? No. Here's my question: is Drake May going to be the fourth QB drafted behind Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy?
No, because he's going to be the third.
Okay.
Listen to me, okay? If you take J.J. McCarthy at anything higher than round 3, 4, you're a fucking idiot. Like it's literally just that simple. If you take him any higher than that, you are a fucking idiot. JJ McCarthy is not.
He's not a second round quarterback.
No, he's Will Levis basically. He's not a good quarterback. Everybody's hyped on this man. They're just like, oh, he's not. He got carried by a defense. He got carried by a run game. He didn't have to do much. He didn't have to do much. His arm strength is, and his accuracy is even worse. He is honestly, for me, he's not that guy. Okay. He's not that guy. Like, what's his name? Mad Dog Russo. I don't agree with a lot of things that he says. I don't. But me and him, we see eye to eye on JJ McCarthy. Me and him both, we see eye to eye on him. Okay.
DJ, any passionate thoughts on JJ McCarthy?
Not really. I haven't even looked at the draft, and I probably won't. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the draft. But I don't even know what quarterbacks are going to be in this draft. Like I said, I hadn't looked at it. Don't know. I'm just waiting to see how long before the Jets win a Super Bowl.
My next question. So now that Baker Mayfield has officially been re-signed to the Buccaneers, our boy, I think we all are Mike Evans fans in some regard.
What? What
no? Okay. Well, you're a Falcons fan, so that's different. But
yeah, exactly.
Our boy, my boy, Mike Evans.
He went to A&M. Come on now.
He's an Aggie, dude. Is heading into his 11th year in the NFL. This man has 10 straight seasons of 1,000 receiving yards, which is a record. He's been amazing. Whether it's been Jameis Winston, Ryan Tannehill, douchebag McGee, or Tom Brady.
What's the other guy he had before? The one before Jameis.
like Brian Griffin,
No. I can't think of his name.
Fitzgerald, Fitzpatrick.
He's had some terrible quarterbacks. He's
My
been
question-
consistent. He's had some bad ones.
With Baker Mayfield back in the fold, yes or no, does Mike Evans has his 11th straight season with 1,000 receiving yards?
I'll be honest. I didn't think he was gonna get it this year, but shit, Baker surprised me. Baker played great, so I'm gonna go yes. I think he gets. I think he. I think he hits 1,000 yards until he retires.
Damn. I think Baker signed 3-year contract, so
Yeah, so I think he has a chance to hit that 1,000-yard mark probably for the next 3 years. Because I mean, he look at the quarterbacks he's had. Tom Brady was probably the best quarterback he's had since.
Probably.
No, he is.
Probably.
He
Hey,
is the best.
guys, let's not forget he played with Johnny Manziel.
Tom Brady was the best quarterback Mike Evans has ever had. Okay.
Probably. Really?
Hey, Tom Brady was on his last leg.
TJ, what do you think? 11 straight seasons, 1,000 yards?
I think he gets it, but barely. I think he'll eke it out toward the end of the season. I think it'll probably be one of those things where it's, oh crap, is he going to make it? Because at some point that's going to be the talk of the ESPN and all the football medias. And I think somehow he ends up. I think he gets like, what is it? You said 1,000, right?
Yep.
So I think like the last game he'll get like 1,002 or 1,005, something like that. I think he ekes it out and toward the end of the season though.
The Steelers have had a very interesting offseason. As far as quarterbacks go. They signed Russell Wilson for a damn near league minimum of I don't even know what, because the Broncos are already paying Russell Wilson $38 million for this next.
So they didn't have to do anything.
So he's getting paid a shit ton of money to not be on the team this next year. And they also traded for Justin Fields. And the condition for Justin Fields is if he plays less than 51% of snaps, they get a 6th rounder. If he plays more than 51% of snaps, they pay a 4th rounder. So my question to both of you, and we'll start with you, TJ, since Nate said first go here. Will Justin Fields or Russell Wilson start more games for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024?
All right. Well, first of all, big shout out to Bruce. That's my co-host for Unpadded. He is a diehard Steelers fan, and I've met some diehard fans in my life, but man, he sticks by his Steelers through thick and thin. So,
thanks for that shout out, by the way. I wanted you to shout him out before we left here. So,
oh golly, why? I don't think Russell Wilson plays more than 51% of the snaps.
What?
I don't, because I think he's going to get hurt or he's going to get benched or something. I don't see it happening. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because Justin Fields needs to just go away and go be a janitor somewhere. But,
well, stars like me.
It just wow. Yeah, I don't see it happening. To answer your question,
Justin Fields will not.
So you think Fields is going to be the starter then?
No.
You think Fields is going to start more snaps? Is I guess the question for TJ. You think Fields will play more snaps?
I think they're both going to get cut by game 5.
Nate,
what I think was planned by the Steelers is they signed Russell Wilson to a 1-year deal. We trade for Justin Fields. Justin Fields will not play more than 51% of snaps this year. So basically the Bears are going to get that 6th rounder. Russell's going to play above average this year, and then he's going to walk. They don't have to pay. They paid him league minimum. The Broncos are going to pay him whatever the rest of that contract is. So whether he's playing or not, he's getting paid. So after this year, Justin Fields he's going to be the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. Not next year, following year. But he's not going. They might put some packages together for him, but I don't see him seeing 51% of the snaps.
You've got MVP Lamar Jackson. You've got Joe Burrow coming back from injury. You've got Deshaun Watson coming back from injury. Do you think the Steelers make the playoffs?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
You want to know why? Because somehow, by the football gods allowed the Baltimore Ravens to fucking sign Derrick Henry. That's why.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
The
that's a good
Cowboys
transition.
missed an opportunity to go sign Derrick Henry, and they allowed the Ravens. Now, do you understand what that means?
Ah.
Do you
Nate,
understand?
you set us up perfectly for the end of our show, and I
Do you
truly appreciate
understand
it.
what the fuck that means? You talk about Lamar Jackson, who's a prolific runner in himself, has been they signed a fucking bulldozer to go with him.
Yes, they
So what are
did.
you going to do? How you stop that?
Now, I have to say this. I feel like I owe Lamar Jackson the biggest apology ever because he has made me eat crow more than once now. I made a comment on a small podcast out of Carrollton, Texas called Strikeout Beer about 4 years ago.
I feel like if we get your receipts on Lamar Jackson, I mean, it would be pretty revealing.
I did not see Lamar being in the league this long. And I said that Lamar Jackson would be out of the league in 3 to 5 years. And here we are 4 years later. And wow, was I wrong? So my bad.
Dude,
Yeah, it's not a bad, RG3, Cam Newton, Vince Young, there's been precedent, but
I just when I saw this news break, I started thinking like as a defender, what do you do at this point? How do you stop an offense that has Derrick Henry along with Lamar Jackson? Like,
so that's a perfect. No, it's a great question, and that's going to lead us into the last leg of our show here. I know you both have been very generous with your time. TJ has a lovely family. It's probably waiting for him to get back there. Never mind. Okay, perfect. Okay, well I'll take my time then. Guys, I looked up some single season records for these NFL teams that have been affected by free agency, and I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and we're going to predict whether or not these records will be broken. So let's start with the guy we were just talking about. For the Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry was signed by Baltimore pretty recently. It was one of the later parts of free agency after he was connected to teams like Dallas for sure, and then some other teams as well.
He bought a house in Dallas.
He trains in Dallas.
He fucking trains in Dallas. The writing was on the fucking wall. All you had to do is pick up the phone.
I actually said that he was going to end up in Dallas, and boy, was I wrong.
We talked about that right before free agency started. Me and Dylan talked about it. I was like, he's going to end up in Dallas, and then the next fucking day, he ends up in Baltimore. I'm just like, I'm like, you know what? The Cowboys are poor. They are a poor franchise. They like to fuck their fans over. Like,
no, they're not poor. They're the most highest grossing franchise in the world.
You know what I mean by poor. They don't not make their decision making is terrible. Like the coaching decisions they make is terrible. The player decisions they make is terrible. The contracts terrible. Everything in that organization is fucking terrible.
And didn't they lose Dan Quinn?
Yes, he is the head coach of the Commanders.
Yes.
God.
So that's gonna be a story in itself.
Yeah.
So I just Derrick Henry paired with Lamar is that I can see them breaking, or I can see them rushing for 3,000 yards.
Oh wow, okay. So that's crazy because I wasn't even going to ask about yardage because I figured at this point in his career, he's an older back, he's beaten and battered. I wasn't going to ask about yardage. And so the record holder for Baltimore right now is, do we all remember Jamal Lewis?
Yes. He ran for 2,000.
2,000. I think it was like just over 2,000. So you think yardage-wise, Derrick Henry could break his record?
Collectively, yes. Because the thing is this. The reason why I say is this. Because
Collectively, what do you mean collective? It has to be rushing yardage.
well, he's not because he's not.
That's the
It's
record.
not. He's not.
2,000 rushing yards.
He's not in the offense by himself. It's not like, hey, Derrick Henry's in the back. We need to load up the box.
So
You also have to worry about Lamar Jackson. So now that also plays a part. So do we worry about Derrick Henry? Because if we worry about Derrick Henry, that ball gets pulled and now Lamar Jackson's going for 50.
So this is interesting because my question, I didn't think there was a chance in hell that Derrick Henry could run for 2,000 yards at this point in his career. So you think, you're throwing everything off here for me. You think there's a chance he could?
Yeah, for sure. Because it's not just Derrick Henry back there. You still have to worry about Derrick Henry.
I'm not asking you Lamar Jackson plus Derrick Henry. I'm asking you Derrick Henry break 2,000 yards.
Derrick Henry can go for 2,000 yards because of Lamar Jackson. Because it's not just, hey, let's keep an eye on Derrick Henry. Hey, we got to watch Lamar Jackson too. And then still remember, what's his name is coming back off Achilles injury? J.K. Dobbins. So he
can be signed by anyone technically.
Oh, he's a free agent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then don't worry about it. But I mean, you think about it. It's if the Ravens played it the right way, and the funny thing is, they have Georgia's offensive coordinator, so he knows how to use running backs. Okay. So you get a guy, you pair it up you get that pairing together. Derrick Henry could easily run for 2,000 yards.
So my question was specifically going to be, can he break 14?
He can run for
14 rushing touchdowns. So you think he can I'm assuming you could think he could break that. 14 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I also think he can break the record for yardage.
Yeah. I think again, like I said, it's a pick your poison type situation. Like, what do you do? Play action is going to be it's going to be awful defending this team next year. It's
so TJ, terrible. As I look at your reaction, it doesn't sound like you could think he'd break the yardage record of 2,000 some odd yards from Jamal Lewis. But do you think he could break? And I think he could. Do you think he could break the Baltimore Ravens rushing touchdown record of 14 rushing touchdowns?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean 14. I mean, okay, so every time they get first and goal within the 10-yard line, they're going to give it to Derrick Henry.
Yeah. Everybody know that.
Everybody knows that. So I have no doubt that he'll break 14 touchdowns. Is rushing yards? Let me ask you a simple question. When was the last time Derrick Henry completed one full season of football?
Well, that's the thing. He was the focal point.
Answer the question. Answer the question.
A full season?
A full season.
I think he played all 17 last year. Maybe missed 1 or 2 games last year. The year before he was injured, he missed most. I think he missed the whole season or half the season. But last year, I think he missed maybe 1 or 2 games, if I'm not mistaken.
He played all games last year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I figured he played a full season last year. The season before is when he was injured.
And then the season before that,
last season.
The season before that was all. Yeah. The season before that was the first time he's been injured, like to the point where he missed the whole season. So,
he only played 8 games in 2021. Still rushed for 937 and 10 touchdowns.
And he played 8 games?
Yeah.
Get out of here, man. Come on, man. That's like DeAndre Hopkins missing half the season and still almost having 1,000 yards. No, that's why I say what I say is because he probably won't take the beating he took in Tennessee.
He rushed for 2,027 in 2020.
So that was 4 years ago. So that's not that far off. But I think because in this offense, he won't be that focal point like he was in Tennessee. He won't take the beating. And their offensive line is way better. The offensive line in Baltimore is way better than Tennessee's.
So moving on to Saquon Barkley, who was signed by my beloved Philadelphia Eagles.
Dude, I wanted to call you when I saw this. Saquon is going to you talk about revitalizing a career. Saquon definitely can go. He easily can go for 14. He can easily have a 1,400-yard season.
So the current yardage record for Eagles running backs is 1607, set by LaShawn McCoy in 2013.
He can get that.
And the current rushing touchdown record for the Eagles, also set by LaShawn McCoy in 2011, is 17, which is actually a lot.
That's a lot. But the thing is, when you say it was rushing,
1607.
so no, you said the rushing touchdowns is 17.
Yes.
Nah, I don't see him going for 17, but he could definitely get 16. He could for sure get 16. That's you talking about that off. My only concern about that offensive line, this is my only concern, is the center position. Obviously, you just lost a major piece, but that offensive line still top tier. So it's better than what he had with fucking Giants. That's for damn sure. He fucking running behind paper mache at that point. But I think 16 is doable. It's just, again, this is gonna be another thing too. This is the Ravens situation. You got Jalen Hurts and Saquon.
Yes.
What the fuck do you do here? Like, it's if they do it correctly, the whole team can be successful. Jalen Hurts can have a better year, passing and running. Saquon's going to have a good year. Your receiver should have a good year. If you do it correctly. But I've seen coaches fuck this shit up and badly for everybody.
TJ, I have a question about the Cowboys, and then if you want, we can you go. I know you probably got stuff you want to do, and then I'm going to talk some more Falcon stuff with Nate. But I do have to get your input on this Cowboys question.
Go for it.
Head coach and quarterback, both Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott are headed into their final contract year this 2024 season. Will both Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott work for the Dallas Cowboys in 2025?
If the Cowboys don't make it at least to the NFC Championship?
Yes, sir.
I believe McCarthy will be gone. As far as Dak Prescott, that is a very loaded question. I don't see how they can justify it, but it is Jerry Jones. My question for Cowboys fans and Jerry Jones and the entire Cowboys organization is, if you get rid of Dak Prescott right now, who are you going to get next year?
Yeah.
Who are you going to get? Now, look, I'm not big on Prescott. I'm not a huge fan of his. I never have been. I believe he's the second coming of Romo. I really do. But my question still stands. Who are you going to go get?
I have something here. So, just by chance, if this guy falls far enough, probably second, maybe third round, I can see the Cowboys taking him to replace Dak.
Spencer Rattler.
Fuck no. You son of a bitch. No. Joe Milton.
Oh,
that is the whitest name I have ever heard.
but he's
the whitest name for the blackest dude you've ever seen in your life.
Exactly. So I can see them taking if he falls far enough, I can see them taking him if he's there. I would do it. I would make that decision because you don't know what Dak. I don't think Dak's coming back next year. I don't see Dak taking his team to the NFC Championship. But
TJ Burns, you've talked wrestling with us. You've talked Dallas Cowboys. You've talked New York Jets. I truly appreciate you coming on with us tonight. It feels like we're back in Just Be a Dad podcast. I would love for you to give a second shout out to your co-host on your Unpadded podcast before we get out of here.
Yeah, Bruce. His name is Bruce with Games. He also does Cheers with Beers, Instagram and Twitter. So check him out, Unpadded Podcast. Tuesday nights, we've kind of been all over the place as far as the show goes. We've got a lot of stuff going on here at the house. He's got a lot of stuff going on at his house. So we will be back this Tuesday, of course, giving our WrestleMania predictions. It's going to be a fun-filled hour. It's not just like you guys and Just Be a Dad was, and mostly football is. It's not for the faint of hearts. There's a few F-bombs dropped, and we just like to laugh and have fun, man. But Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask you. If it was somewhere, because I'm not on Facebook anymore. So everybody,
Are you planning to stream during WrestleMania?
Night 1 is kind of up in the air. Night 2, we will be having live reaction for most of the show, probably the later stuff. So live reactions on night 2, especially the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match. Night 1, like I said, it's kind of to be determined. We're not sure yet. But night 2, definitely.
Okay. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time, talking about wrestling, talking about the Cowboys, talking about the Jets. I truly appreciate it. I'm going to continue asking our friend Nate here about the Atlanta Falcons. But again, man, thank you so much for giving us your time. And, feel free to plug Whiskey Pro Streaming before you get out of here. Anything else you'd like to talk about before you get out of here?
I'm good, man. It's been fun. It's been great. Thank you so much for the invite.
Hell yeah, man. Anytime. Love you so much, TJ. Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, dude.
Bye.
TJ, Whiskey Pro Streaming in the house. So nice to have him. I'm truly glad he hopped on here. I love it.
Yeah.
He's one of those fans that loosely follows, so I do like to see his opinions on the Cowboys because he lives in the area, and then also the Jets because he's like a floating Jets fan now. So it's always fun to hear what he thinks of those guys. So Nate, we talked Ravens with Derrick Henry. We talked Eagles with LaShawn McCoy. Let's go to a team that's made another big splash. A team you particularly are a big fan of yourself.
Not a big splash. It was just
the Atlanta Falcons made a huge splash this offseason, and they did not trade for Justin Fields. They did not wait for the draft to possibly, see if JJ McCarthy was going to be there.
I'd have burned that goddamn stadium.
They made
to Atlanta myself. I will fly to Atlanta myself and set that damn stadium on fire. They bring JJ McCarthy in that building.
Arthur Blank said, "You know what, Minnesota Vikings? I'm going to make the first move here, and I'm going to bring in Kirk Cousins. And we're going to see truly what we have in our young core of Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson, our big three. And let's see if we can make a real run here like we did in 2016 with Dan Quinn and get back to the Super Bowl. And Kirk Cousins at the helm, quarterback, specialist of fame. You like that, that sort of stuff. Before I get into the questions of Nets and yada, 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 what was your initial reaction when you heard the news?
I was disappointed, honestly. Because I was really hoping that we would trade for Justin Fields. Because Justin Fields would be perfect for our team.
And the most the Bears could get is a 4th rounder, yes? What we just talked about? If he plays 51% of snaps?
Yeah, I don't. So basically, we were going to get him for either a 4th or a 6th. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. Why couldn't we just give that up to get Justin Fields? Why not? What harm would it have done? But I think I understand why they went the direction that they went. I think they went because they wanted that veteran leadership. They wanted a veteran quarterback, and Justin Fields he's had a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah.
So I think that was more. I think that's what made the decision. Whereas it's okay, let's just go with bless you. Let's just go with Kirk Cousins. And bless you. Let's just go with Kirk Cousins. It's the safer choice. But I think personally, it's That's a lot of money for a guy that's 35, coming off an Achilles injury. We don't really know exactly when he's going to play, if he plays the first half of the season. So I mean, we got rid of Desmond Ritter, so only person we really got is Taylor Heineke. So it's just, unless we decide to take a quarterback I hope they do, because Kirk Cousins is not going to be forever. So I'm hoping that they take. I like Joe Milton, I really do. I like the kid. I ain't like him when he was in Tennessee, obviously for obvious reasons, but he got a strong arm. He he has the charisma. I think he's fit in Atlanta, but we'll see. But at this point, we got Kirk Cousins. I'm not happy, but I'm not upset. So, you know, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what he does. I mean, obviously now our playmakers are going to be able to be able to make plays like they were drafted to do. So I see it'll be all right. It'll be we'll win the division. I can say that much.
Oh yeah. Hey, let me I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick. If you don't mind waxing poetic real quick on, do you think Bijan Robinson's gonna set any records? Do you think Drake London's gonna set any records? And I'll be right back.
No. Them guys ain't fit to set any records. No. I do not believe that Bijan Robinson is going to. He's going to be extremely effective in a pass game, because they will be able to utilize him more. Drake London for sure is going to definitely get utilized a lot. I think he probably will crack 1,000 yards this year. Kyle Pitts, I predict Kyle Pitts might break 1,000, but we'll have to see on that one. I mean, as far as everyone else goes, I think all those guys like Ray McLeod, and who else did we sign? I think we traded for the receiver from Arizona. I think those guys are just going to be like gadget players, just deep threats, because we hadn't had deep threats. We ain't really had a real deep threat in Atlanta in a while. So I predict Kirk Cousins can have a good year. I think he might break. I think he can go for 45 this year, and probably about. I'm gonna say about 40 probably like 40 touchdowns. I think he can. I think he can do that. But we'll have to see on that situation. Let me see. So it looks like Alabama just beat Clemson to reach their first Final Four. They beat Clemson 89-82. Let's see. What was so Joseph Girard had 19 points, 7 for 13. Mark Sears had 23 points, 8 for 18. So it looks like Alabama will be playing UConn. So it looks like Alabama will be playing UConn. They beat Clemson 89-82.
Oh, okay. So that's the Eastern half there.
Yeah, I think that's the top part that we were looking at. Well, no, I'm sorry. That's the part we wasn't looking at. It was the bottom portion. But
that was the women's. No, yeah,
that's men's. That's the men's.
So Alabama, yes, Alabama beat Clemson, so they are playing UConn, and
I think we're waiting for Duke and
NC State, and Purdue. So let's play Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay.
But like I was saying before you walked away, I think Bijan. I think he's going to have a lot more receiving touchdowns this year. Drake London and Kyle Pitts definitely are going to have. I think they both can go for 1,000.
Oh, fuck! I should have looked up Kyle Pitts. Yeah. Okay. Records. So the records I was talking about. Sorry, I should have been more specific. So particularly, yeah. Let's just start off with the Falcons, and we'll talk about single season records. So for rushing, our boy, who I remember, one of my favorite episodes of MTV Cribs was Jamal Anderson showing us that in his refrigerator he kept, I don't know if it was his wife or whose breast milk it was, but I'll never forget MTV Cribs. Jamal Anderson, Atlanta Falcons running back, had bottles of breast milk in his refrigerator that he drank. I don't know if it was from his baby mama or what. But anyway, in 1998, Jamal Anderson had on 410 attempts, which is crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, on 410 rushing attempts, he had 1,844 rushing yards for 14 rushing touchdowns. Now, I don't think that Bijan is going to crack 400 rushing.
I don't think no running back has
I don't
cracked
think he's going
400.
to get 1,800 rushing yards. Do you think it's possible he gets anywhere close to 14 rushing touchdowns?
No.
Okay. Because Algier
Well,
is in the top 20 of rushing yards. Cracking 1,000 yards, which Algier did, I think, his first year. He's actually in top 20 Falcons rushing leaders single season all time.
and that's one of the reasons why I don't think he'll crack the 14 because he splits the carries between him and Algier.
Yeah.
I think what's the rushing record? 1,800.
Yeah, 1,800.
Yeah, he's not gonna come close to that. I think he can get 14. I mean, it's
But basically, as long as Algier's there, you don't think Bijan's going to set any records.
it's really going to depend on how the offense goes. Because I don't know nothing about none of these guys at all. Like none of this new coaching staff. I don't know how the offensive coordinator is going to perform. I don't know. So it's really we're just gonna have to see how they utilize these guys. But I believe for sure Drake London and Kyle Pitts can go for 1,000 and probably 6 touchdowns each.
Okay, so that brings me to my next question. The receiving records, as you can imagine, Julio Jones holds a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
He has the NFL or the Atlanta Falcons, anyways, receiving records for catches and yards. He doesn't have the record for touchdowns, which I'm sure doesn't surprise you.
Mm-hmm.
But he has the receiving record for receptions. Is there any way that this year, with Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball, Drake London cracks 136 catches?
Ooh. Nah. And the reason why I say that is because we have a lot. All the other guys that they just signed, like say Kyle Pitts, Ray McLeod, the guy we got from Arizona. Like
Rondell Moore's on the team now.
We signed a lot of pass catchers.
Darnell Mooney's on the team now.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney's too. So we signed a lot of pass catchers. So I don't think he's gonna crack that. No.
Okay.
136, nah. Because Julio was the only guy, so they had to throw him the ball. So, but yeah, no.
What about? Is there any way Drake London gets more than 1,871 receiving yards?
No. Because the thing is, he has the size. He don't have the speed like Julio. Like Julio was a video game character. Like he had that 4.3, 4.4 speed. Yeah, Drake London didn't have that.
And Julio set both those records in 2015.
Yeah, I don't see him. Now if we get like a lot more red zone attempts, maybe.
Now, as far as touchdowns go, as I said, Julio's most touchdowns he ever had in the season was 10. And then 5 left.
They can get that.
5 left on the record in Atlanta. Andre Rison in 1993 had 15 receiving touchdowns. Is there a chance that this year, with Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball, Drake London cracks 15 receiving touchdowns?
If we get red zone attempts, yeah. If we get a lot more red zone attempts and they actually throw the ball up to him, yeah. But again, like I said, you got a guy like Kyle Pitts, who's a matchup nightmare for linebackers and safeties. I mean, it's really a pick your poison at that point. But I mean, if Drake London is the focal point of the passing game, yes, it's very possible.
I do want people, especially fantasy-wise, to remember Kirk Cousins threw the ball a lot to Jordan Reed, tight end in Washington. He threw the ball a lot to T.J. Hawkinson, tight end at the Minnesota Vikings. So he's going to throw the ball a lot to Kyle Pitts. So I hope that people are ready for the revival of Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts needs a revival.
Now, speaking of Kirk Cousins, let's talk quarterback passing records in Atlanta. I think we remember that 2016 MVP season that Matt Ryan had. Is there a chance that Kirk Cousins in 2024 breaks the Atlanta Falcons single season record of 4,944 passing yards?
If he plays,
he'd be a 5,000-yard passer for the Falcons.
It's for me. I can't really. It just depends on when he plays. Like I said, that Achilles, if he doesn't play like the first 3 or 4 games of the season, nah, there's no chance. But if he's ready to go week 1, I think he might go for 5,040 touchdowns.
Okay, the Matt Ryan also threw 38 touchdowns that year. So you think he can break that?
Yeah, because there's more pass catchers, and these guys that they're bringing in are like those gadget guys, those guys that can go, like you can do a quick screen pass or a little shovel pass and they can take it to the house. So I think it's gonna be fun to watch. But I think if he plays the full season, stays healthy, he can go for 5,040 touchdowns.
Okay. Well, those are all my stat questions. We talked about McCarthy and Dak. We talked about the Jets, Drake May, Mike Evans. We talked about the Eagles and the Falcons. So thank you so much for this current watcher. I mean, we see you watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to comment, go ahead and leave a comment. If not, then I hope we see you next time, man. And or a woman. I hope we entertain you enough to keep you on for the next time. Feel free to share, subscribe, whatever. But I guess at the end here, dude, you're in the NFC South. The winner of the NFC South this past season with the Buccaneers, and I don't think, as good as they were, no one's going to call them a juggernaut. You have Derek Carr in New Orleans. You have Bryce Young in Carolina. I mean, do you see the Falcons as a surefire playoff team in 2024?
I'm not gonna say surefire, because like I said, everything looks good on paper. We always look good on paper until the season starts, and then we forget how to play fucking football. But I think we can win the division, because I mean, the Saints are in complete disarray. They don't know what the fuck's going on. They still got Derek Carr. The Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young, we know how that shit gonna play out.
I like Deontay Johnson, but
they're gonna need more than that.
Yeah.
The Bucks are probably gonna be our biggest issue. But we beat them once last year, and we kind of shot ourselves in the foot the second time we played them. I think we can beat them. I think we can win this division easy.
Kirk Cousins in Atlanta is like the most least exciting move. He's gonna make them competitive, dude. That's the thing. He's gonna keep them in every game. But it's fucking Kirk Cousins. Like it's just they'll be fine. They'll win games on Sunday at 1:00. They will win those games.
Yeah, but prime time is gonna be a problem. Prime time Kirk Cousins is the problem.
I'm so curious how this is all gonna pan out.
I am too. I'm just, like I said, it's just trusting Raheem Morris, and then I wasn't too excited about that hiring to begin with. So I don't have a lot of hope going into the season. So we'll see. We're gonna see. I mean, like I said, everything looks good on paper.
MFers. TJ especially. TJ, I feel like you're watching right now. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a special recap episode. I mean, my goodness, the amount of moves that have happened. We didn't even talk about Calvin Ridley, L'Jarius Sneed, a couple Austin Eckler's in Washington right now.
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald has retired. Keenan Allen is in Chicago. DeAndre Swift is in Chicago. Mike Williams is in New York Jets. I mean, if you didn't pay attention this season, you would have no idea what's going on. It's following NFL season because there's been trades, free agency signings.
Somebody said that the NFL should stop announcing free agent signings and drafts and wait and just announce everything and let the fans see week one who runs out on the field.
Oh yeah. I've heard that.
That should be hilarious. That'd be hilarious.
That would entirely wreck the fantasy community.
Yes,
We have no idea how to draft. You know us in our gambling. Come on now. Speaking of which, I mean, Nate, thank you so much for joining this Dynasty Draft. We're about to be in. This is about to be awesome. I mean, we are about to plant our flags and pick the guys that we think are going to be good for the next 4 to 5 years. So
when are we doing that?
The draft will happen after the actual NFL draft.
Okay.
We'll have our startup going. Nate's in it. Alan and RD from Strikeout are in it. Dylan Moran from On and Off the Field's in it. So, everyone, if you've been paying attention, if you're a fan of the Strikeout world, if you're in that orbit at all, please follow along with what's happening in this Dynasty League. It's going to be a lot of fun. We talked Eagles, we talked Falcons, we talked free agency. I mean, the draft is happening late April.
Yeah, into April.
So we'll be here. We'll try to do an episode just before the draft, do our predictions and mock drafts. And Eli Berkovitz of Packers coverage is a guy who I've been in touch with recently. So we'll talk to him about what happened with the Packers this past season and Jordan Love and how that came out of nowhere and what he's expecting for the 24 season as well. So that'll be cool. And it's just nice to get back on the horn with Nate, talk to TJ, talk to RD. I love you guys so much. It's bro time, baby. It's Saturday night. Here we go.
Right.
I love it. It's dad stuff too. I mean, my God, the kids are asleep. The hand, foot, and mouth that Nate was talking about is going around, dude. You got to be careful.
There's a lot. There's a lot going around right now.
MFers, we love you. We're looking forward to Tyson versus Paul. We're looking forward to all that stuff. Any other parting words you had, Nate, for the people?
Nah, I don't have any. You know how it is. Just happy to be here.
See you next time, everyone. Love you, TJ. And goodbye, all.